Let's talk about financing it. You're thinking the whole thing turnkey. I know nobody's holding you to it, but rough number you've got is around 250,000.
That's our budget that we presented to architects, that we want them to work at. They come in, what was the?
290.
290 was their initial cost. But they're working with the contractor to meet somewhere in the middle there.
And over time, some of it would be offset with rent from downstairs, which goes not to us, but to EDA.
It would basically be offset when we first really dug into this, we were expecting to be paying over $15,000 new rent for the D&B building. That plus the $4,500 that we already pay there would have been enough to cover the whole debt service for this build out. That's when we really got into it, working hard on it. And then last week, Mike brought us the letter that said that was going to be delayed a year on the rent for the registrar at the D&B office.
But sure it's going to happen.
It's going to be the letter said it would be reconsidered next year.
They're not paying anything now. That 40. What did you say now?
$4,500, I believe. And that was from additional space that was built on specific for our request.
Yeah, that's not paid to D&B, that's paid
No, that's paid to a local person.
And just to remind you, I know y'all know this, but the initial concept was to get rid of the situation we have with the treasurer and the commissioner of revenue and the public access downstairs. So that will help, will completely mitigate that problem.
And we had discussed maybe doing local financing instead of going back through our bond procedure and everything with this building, but that might be an option to look at as well.
Typically, if you financed $300,000, what kind of timeline would you be thinking about? I mean, you said put it over short term, 5 years or 10 years, or?
I think what we looked at was around 20.
So like a big house payment. I mean, seriously,
Right.
probably talking about $1,500 to $2,000 a month or something.
Right.
We
It
were
would
figuring
correspond
around,
pretty much with what the payment is for this building now.
We were figuring around $20,000 a year.
And I do know that when we refinanced the loan on the building to build the second floor, we were able to build the second floor, and that annual payment went down 11,000 and change. So made some good strides last year on refinancing. I know it don't seem to help the budget this year, but that's $11,000 less, and plus a second story that we've got.
So what would you need today if our intent was to continue to explore this?
I need this document signed that is a notice to proceed to the engineers saying that we agree to pay these services as the project goes along. Of course, if we get to where we don't like the schematics and we decide not to do it and the price can't get right, the $7,500 we wouldn't be paying because they wouldn't be administering the construction. But we have to pay them to spend the time on doing the schematics and the drawing. And that's what that first amount is about. And that's what you're giving me authority to do today, is to tell the contractor or the A&E firm, go ahead and get our construction documents ready to present to Quisberry.
All right, discussion. comments, feelings, now's the time to be honest.
Well, it's gonna eliminate us paying taxes and, or I mean rent up here at the DMV office at some point. My looking at people, somebody, when you're paying rent, or if you're not paying rent, and you're using somebody's building, eventually they're gonna ask you for something. So I see us paying rent up there, I don't know how much it's gonna be, but if we keep the registrar's office at the DMV, we're gonna be paying rent. So, and it's gonna alleviate the problem with the treasurer and the commissioner, and it's gonna eliminate a lot of problems here.
The proposed rent that was in our original letter was $1,300 a month. So that'd be $15,600 a year, plus what we already pay there.
More than most you pay.
We're paying for the DMV up here.
Just the build-out section, we don't pay the state, we pay a local person that owns that building. The DMV apparently rents that from a local person as well.
Okay. But we're already paying rent.
Yeah, a little bit.
Not for the whole area.
Just for a build-out section that we
Just the
requested.
registrar's office, a little bit.
Here's the way I'm looking at it. You know, it's a bad day to talk about this because of all the stuff we've heard and all the expenses. But if you divide these up into the registrar and the treasurer and the Debbie, you're taking one organization that's going to be paying rent and you're moving them to that we're going to have to pay the rent for, and you're moving them to an area that's not going to have to pay rent. You're going to take two people who are not paying rent and move them to an area where they're not going to have to pay rent, but we're going to be able to rent out their current space. So you're saving the rent on the registrar by not having to pay it, and you're creating a rentable space on the other two, which makes the cost be a lot less because the payments are, if it's not full, it's going to be a significant partial payment on the construction. And at the same time make everything more efficient. You throw in $600 on a telephone and other little things that come along, and it adds up to, you know, a fairly good deal to get them moved up here and make us more efficient. I know we've got other expenses. It's a bad time. And if y'all, 6 of you or 2 of you or whatever say we can't afford it, then I understand that. I was one of the ones that actually got this conversation started because I feel like that we got this big building with all this space and you got Debbie stuck down there in a hole in the wall. And the treasurer's office is pretty cramped, but
another point, Mitzi was telling me that they used a gun safe. I don't know what they put in their safe or nothing, but I mean, it looks like we could do a little something and put a vault or whatever we needed to do. I know it might be a little more money, but than having a gun safe for her to store whatever valuable money or documents or whatever she puts in there. Cash, you know, and one more point. She is very vulnerable down there where she's at, right there to the exit to the outside. That's another aspect that we need to look at. I mean, I think we'd eliminate a bunch of problems if we went ahead and done now what we're talking about doing. You need a motion. Are we done?
Well, if you're gonna do anything at all today, well, we may be done. If you're gonna do anything at all today, you'd need a motion to authorize the engineers to move ahead with the project, and we'd be committing to what figure? $25,500 eventually.
Eventually, yeah.
I'll make that in the form of a motion.
Mr. Compton makes that in the form of a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second
Mr. Hood seconds. You've still got an opportunity to get out, but you will be committed 25. But you've got an opportunity to get out if the price tag gets so high and the budget's so bad that you can't stand it.
Get out for how much?
Huh?
Get out for how much?
25.5. You're going to have to pay that if we move farther. But I mean, we're not saying we're going to build it, but this is saying we're going to go far enough to see.
And you won't be empty-handed if we do get there and you say, well, we don't want to do it right now. You won't be empty-handed. We'll still have the schematics and the drawings that we could go out and do this project at some other point. But it's going to be the cheapest time to ever do it. If we go out to bid a year from now, or 2 years from now, or 5 years from now to do this, it's going to be a lot more money to do.
All right, we've got a motion and a second to authorize engineers to move ahead and commit ourselves over time to $25,500 to explore the possibilities of this construction in the near future.
One more question, where's this money coming from? Is it money gonna be it now, or is something in the next budget? We don't have it now, between now and July 1st. Our contingency fund sure ain't gonna help.
I think between the contingency fund and some of the funds that I might find in Public Works as we get closer to the end of the year that aren't as important as far as, it's almost like contingency funds that I have about trucks turning up and things like that. I can come up and with this.
So you can move some money around and come up with it?
Yeah, I think so.
You got a motion and a second, correct?
Yes, sir. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we'll go that far.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We're done with that section.
Well, I've heard my belly thinks my throat's been cut.
Well, Mr. Dishman, he's got the quick version today. You're up, sir. Item 21, Mr. Dishman with the PSA.
We're not trying to hurry, I'm just aggravated. We come right on.
Hey, Dr. Redwine, Frida, board, thank you for having me again. Get my glasses on. So. Read, hand this out to you. I need this. Lots of stuff going on as far as construction projects, and try to update you on that. And giving you this list, so if you have any questions, just interrupt me and I'll proceed. But a couple of projects that have been recently completed, one by contractor in Boozy Creek, Phase 3, and Big Stony Creek, which was completed by a PSA crew. The notice to proceed was issued today to start construction on Big Moccasin Phase 1 water line extension. Don't know when they will start, but they could start any time, or it could be a few months. We just don't know. That's up to the contractor. Have very little control over that. The notice to proceed was issued today. Our crew is working up on Seneca Creek Highway west of Dungannon, east of Dungannon, extending water from Russell County into Scott County. Not only serves water to some homes that needed good quality drinking water, but it provides an 8-inch diameter water main that will be a regional interconnector from Russell County that could serve as a backup to the town of Dungannon and a backup to our water system via the town of
Did they ever get
Dungannon.
across Clinch River, you think?
We will attempt to get permission to hang it on the bridge.
Should.
Yeah.
I know they really appreciate, Dan Bricky, I talked to him a few days ago, and they're really appreciative of that coming.
Mr. Bricky.
And I didn't know if it ever happened or not, if they had to go across the river to get to them, but coming from Castlewood down, they really do appreciate that.
Mr. Bricky,
How far
was
down?
the spark plug to this project, right?
Do what, say again?
Mr. Bricky was the spark plug.
He was,
to this
yeah.
project.
How far down are you coming? You're not going back up toward Long Hollow, you're just going down straight down to Dungannon?
Right, we're going down about as far as, what's the old store, there?
Jot them down. That's what we go.
What's that road there? Is that Twin Springs Road?
74.
It's Long Haul Road.
Long Haul Road, we're going that far. Not a lot of connections, but it's an important line for the regionalization of water systems. And we're going a little ways on in the Pines Circle, serve some homes there. Mr. Carter there in the Pines. Let's see, upcoming projects, these have already been funded. Let's see, let me just highlight the big news. Well, you probably saw in the paper the great funding offer that we got. We worked out with Rural Development on the Fairview water system. And then, not yet funded, but we hope soon to be funded, is the Yuma Sewer Phase 2 that Darrell has worked on, and the Hilton Sewer that Marshall has worked hard on, and both these guys worked hard on these, and we have reason to be optimistic, especially as of today, that we'll get a good funding offer on that. Nothing's guaranteed, but there's some positive word from Rural Development on that major sewer project.
If I can just say on the.
Those will be combined. Yuma and Hilton's will be combined.
On the Hilton sewer system there, what was it, a 73% plus? It's
We got, we've gotten about 75%, about
75%.
yeah, around close to 300 user
Right.
agreements,
Yeah.
commitments out of a possible
Which is
400.
wow, really important, really good.
And also, likewise, a good response from the Yuma Sewer Phase 2.
Right.
And we'll combine those into a funding application. We're already talking with Rural Development, talking with them a lot today. And we just put in an application last week for construction funds for Hunters Valley West and Robinette Valley. It's combined about a $1.8 million project.
On that Hunters Valley West, is that gonna tie Stony Creek in to the Mabe Stanley
Correct.
town line? A
That
lot of
will-
people was calling about it.
No, that will tie in, no, I'm sorry, it will tie in, Hunters Valley West will connect to Big Stony Creek that we just completed, across Big Stony Creek.
Yeah, okay.
It won't tie in to Mabe Stanleytown because the line out Hunters Valley West from Mabe Stanleytown ends with a section of 2-inch line that would restrict the flow eastward. So we're going to serve this section of Hunters Valley West from Big Stony Creek with the possibility of connecting the gap there in the future.
But all the people will be served in there then, there was that gap in the middle, they'll all get water, is that correct?
We're going to do our best. We've got about 30 homes. We went out a couple weeks ago and got samples from those, and Miss Hicks' home and all her neighbors.
W.C. Bagley, are you familiar with him? He's called me several times trying to get the water come up.
I think yes, I believe he's in that
Very
area.
good, but he's really wanting it back.
Yeah. I mean, there's a gap there that, I don't know if there's homes in there or
There's a
not.
gap there, there's not any homes, there's nothing there.
Okay, that's probably where we don't serve. And then Manville Phase 4, we're putting in for a planning grant application. Well, we're analyzing that application. We've got water samples from the homes up on Copper Ridge, and we're evaluating whether those sample results and whether those sample results will support our application for a planning grant.
Did you get water top of that ridge?
All across that top of that
They
ridge.
get you, we can get it there?
Can we get
Yeah.
it? Yes, we'll have to pump it. We'll have to pump it. And we'll have to have a tank up there.
You have a great interest up there too.
There is a strong interest.
Yes.
There is.
But the water samples from the homes bacterially was pretty good. Fortunately for them, unfortunate for our funding application. But the problem is the taste and odor of water, really, and you don't get funding points for poor aesthetic quality of the water, just bacteria. So we're close. We're looking at it. Yeah, sulfur, iron, manganese. Pretty tough to drink. And then Big Moccasin Snowflake is on our radar for funding. We got some work yet to do. Got to get some more user agreements and take some samples from the wells out in there and springs. But as we're on the go to building these projects, and if they're feasible financially and engineering wise, we'll try to do them.
On the map to the PSA that will service Midway community.
Help me, that's between Day City and Nicholasville
Yeah.
or is that off
Well, it's
of 71?
72, right there.
Yeah, that's between Dungannon and Nicholasville.
No, yeah, well, it's actually
Sort of.
from Twin Springs going over that way, or from 72, right there about where the Midway, what's the name of that church? It's Midway
That's
Methodist.
left of Nicholasville Highway, in other words. So
Yeah, it's over in the,
not yet. We're not there yet. We've got to do this snowflake project.
right.
See how that goes, and then can branch off of that to serve areas like Midway.
There's a lot of people over in there need the water too.
Yeah, we need to hear from them and have them sign user agreements, and so we can track those and see where the need is.
What would be the best way to get user agreements in that area? Do you send out people that will go out and contact those residents, or how do you do that?
A lot of times, if we get a person in the community who's interested, we will send them forms, and if
Okay.
they're willing to distribute them door to door,
Okay.
talk up the project.
Okay.
When we know that people are really serious about it, and we don't have user agreements, we'll mail them out ourselves to all the property owners.
Mike, are y'all working with the town of Dungannon on extending their project up toward Colburn on Route 72?
We met with the town in January with the mayor and Lynn Wisco. They had put in for funding from Department of Housing and Community Development for a block grant for replacing a lot of their lines and extending water lines up Hang Rock Parkway. And that part of it didn't get funded, so we agreed with them that the PSA would try to do that water line extension, and it's in the planning stage right now.
Okay. I signed the agreement myself. I don't need the water, but my neighbors do. My water's fine, but we really need it that way too.
Right.
So.
I
But-
hear that they're, again, they
Yeah,
have
it
faced other
is.
problems.
Water, some of them really has bad water.
And they already collected the water samples from the houses, and we're in the process of getting those results from their engineer, from the town's engineer. And it's a good project. There's a concentration of homes in a short distance. So, but that's the plus. The negative is there's about 3 railroad crossings to get to some of those homes, and that makes it quite a bit more expensive. But it's on our list. It's not on
Well, if
this.
they can break it across the railroad one time and then just get an easement to come all the way up through there,
Maybe.
service everybody from the lower side of the railroad.
Yeah, we talked about that too, yeah.
Well, I got 800 feet there they could go on and I'll do it in a heartbeat. There's 5 houses there would be served.
Okay, yeah, it's an unusual, for us, it's an unusual project because there's so many homes in short distance. Usually we have to go a lot further between homes. And the town would sell us water for that.
Anything else?
Questions?
Good presentation.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate all you do.
Thank you. Thank you all.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. To my knowledge, we have nothing for closed session. And we are down to our final comments and requests. Each of you will have 10 seconds for your final comments. Anyway, we've stayed in here, we've done the work, and we've had a lot of stuff going today, so I appreciate your patience, and it's necessary. Anybody who's sat here knows that we've had a lot of things on our plate, but I appreciate you. But is there anything else before final comments that we missed or need to add? All right, Mr. Jeter.
I'm gonna yield my 10 seconds to him.
All right.
Okay, real quick, is there a way we could put a link on our county website that would tie to the VDOT for people who may have road troubles out there? Is that something we could look into?
I can talk to Matt and see.
Right, today, people are computer savvy and things like that, and they're always looking for ways to do that, and they've always depended on, supervisor in days gone by, of course, supervisor can't be at all these places, and of course, the road is a state deal too, but we try to help, and that way give our citizens a way to go to, and there's a place on the VDOT where they can put a ticket in for the troubles.
File a complaint, so you'd like to have a link to that? Yeah, you can check on that and see.
Thank you.
I have a,
Yeah, you're good?
I'm good.
All right, Mr. Harry?
I'm good.
Thank you, everybody, I'm good. I got done 2 seconds.
Well, Mr. Hood, I know he feels the same. He had to go on for school. And again, a lot of topics today, a lot of things going on, but good decisions. I appreciate those gentlemen working on that deal this morning. I was dreading that on the road closure. I think it shows that things can be worked out, and there'll be other things come up, but good job today. Within no other business, we adjourn. Let me get a date. May 3rd, 8:30 a.m. Thank you.
Budget meeting probably Monday.